Hey Bayek, it's me Ian, and in today's video I'm going to take a trip down memory lane for me personally, and I hope that you'll join me. This video is going to be all about Ladybird Books and my collection. My collection isn't massive, but I have got a few, and if I did have a big, massive collection, I would be hours and hours probably going through it, because this is such an amazing story of a publisher that produced books that became part of 1960s and 70s childhood for many people. These were the Ladybird Book. They were such a wonderful range. And, well, let me talk about it. I hope you don't mind me. I'm perhaps being a bit self-indulgent, but I'd like to share with you my enthusiasm, especially as I'm here in Loughborough, where it all began. Yes, in 1867, Henry Wills opened a bookshop in Loughborough. 10 years later, he started to produce books. He printed guides, street directories. Then a crucial date was in 1904, where he joined with William Hepworth, and they became Wills and Hepworth. Then August 1914, the first children's books under the Ladybird imprint were produced. That's in 1914. Now, they continued to produce these books, and they developed into such a wide area, a range of books. It's absolutely fantastic. 1998, the factory closed. It's actually about 10 minutes walk from where I live here, and it's still there, the factory. The Ladybird Books historically still dominates our history in this town. There's in the museum, they always have displays about Ladybird Books, and it's just very much part of us. And when Lady Di, or Princess Diana, she came to this factory when she visited our town, and that was a great historical moment. We may come back to that in a minute. Again, as I say, it's very much in the lifeblood of this town, and sadly they left, but they're still going, Ladybird Books. They moved to London, became part of Penguin Books, and continue to publish children's books. And also now they do a range of adult books which are a parody and a really good fun of the traditional Ladybird books. I haven't actually got any, but I've seen them. It's an area I keep looking at and thinking, interesting. But yeah, you can see those as well. But Ladybird Books, if you're interested, you can still find them everywhere online, and there's various editions. They've become very, very collectible, especially the early ones. And for me, they opened everything up as a child, and they were so important that they were used in schools, learning to read. They were on the curriculum. Ladybird Books were everywhere, and they covered everything, all subjects from nature, history, life, in towns. They covered children's stories. They covered all sorts. As you'll see, I have got a nice selection, and they fired my imagination. Absolutely fired my imagination. Now, I know some of them may seem out of date now, and some of the values perhaps are seen as, times are different and have moved on. But I would not ever be put off by this, and nobody should ever think, hey, we can't have those books nowadays. They're great. They're part of our history, and good luck to everybody who still loves them like I do, because I absolutely love these books. And I'd like to collect more, but again, it's like with room, but I've got a nice representation. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll start to go through some of the books that I've got in my collection. Right, so let's see. Firstly, what I'll do is I'll do where I suppose they all, in a way, started in the ideas that they were producing, which were children's fairy tale stories. Right. So, here is one. This is The Sleeping Beauty. I won't go through every book, but I'll give you an idea. One of the striking things about Ladybird Books is always the illustrations. The illustrations, absolutely fantastic. They're just amazing illustrations in the stories. That's Sleeping Beauty. Then we've got The Princess and the Pea. We've got Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Yep. Now, if you look at this, let me just show you. There we are. Another idea. Great illustrations, great stories to read. Easy to read stories for a child. Then we've got The Elves and the Shoemaker. Absolutely fantastic. Elves and the Shoemaker. Oh, here we are. The Three Little Pigs. I wonder what they think about this nowadays. I don't know. But this is, it's just a wonderful story. If you look at the illustrations here, they're wonderful illustrations. Again. And then we've got here Rumpelstiltskin. Yeah, all these wonderful fairy tales brought alive. Here, Cinderella. Look at Cinderella. Fantastic. The Enormous Turnip is an earlier edition of The Enormous Turnip. A great story, isn't it? The Enormous Turnip. These are all for a lot of younger readers as well. Then we've got here The Sly Fox and the Little Red Hen. And then Rapunzel. Look at Rapunzel. See inside. Now, if they've got jacket covers, which some of these have, then that is an earlier edition, usually, of the books. Because in later ones, they didn't have the, the covers. So that is a nice thing. These are very collectible and have more value and are worth more in a collection if you've got the covers like this. You can see, look on eBay. Then, they've got this. The Wise Robin. Robin's wonderful. Who cannot like a Robin story? Oh, Christmas illustration there. So, anyway. Fantastic story. Of course, I forgot about this one. How important. Jack and the Beanstalk. Yeah, Jack and the Beanstalk. Yes. Wonderful, wonderful. Who can ever... Jack and the Beanstalk is one of those stories that just captures your imagination, right, as a child. I just remember being read to... at school, even, the schools used to get these books and were reading the books and showing the things. Fantastic, as well as there were ones that you would start when you were learning to read. You could look at. Absolutely amazing. And as I say, they became on the curriculum. And we've got Dick Whittington and his cat. This is a later one. Now, some of these I got in the 1990s when my son was young, only a little child, and I deliberately almost got in these to get interested as well, and in reading, because he started reading work very early, because he loved things like Beano. He used to absolutely adore the Beano, and that got him into learning to read, and then he could read books like this quite easily. Piper of Hamelin, of course, a great, absolutely wonderful story, that. Then Peter Pan. Yeah, Peter Pan. How great is that? Wonderful. Then there's some more of these early ones. I got the Gingerbread Man. This, again, you can tell by the thing, is a much later edition. Gingerbread Man. Oh, this one's always fun, isn't it? The Emperor's New Clothes. And the Three Billy Goats Gruff. Yeah. What great stories. Then this is interesting. This is Peter and the Wolf. When I think of Peter and Wolf, I always think of the Prokofiev's story put to music, and of course I've got a copy with David Bowie doing the narration. Yes, David Bowie, he pops up as often. We haven't had a Doctor Who reference yet, but no, I don't know if we will. Anyhow, there we are. So Peter and the Wolf, those are my sort of traditional story ones. Now what shall we go for? We'll go for history. Now, the reason I got into history so much from, a very young child, was it just fired my imagination, these books. Absolutely. There's just something about them. So let's say I'll just pick these out. Again, if you've got these, they're worth a lot more. So this one's Florence Nightingale. All about Florence Nightingale. And, look at these illustrations. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Look, this is one of the war illustrations for the Crimea War. Oh, yeah. And the text is always good. Okay, some will say, hey, they're not totally historically accurate. But there was a lot of... when I've actually read these, because I've studied various periods in time, actually, they're a good... I think they're quite a fair representation quite often. And, to give to a child. And it's all about firing imaginations. That's Florence Nightingale. Then here I've got another classic one. Napoleon. Absolutely Napoleon. Wow. Look at these illustrations again. Napoleon. This as well. See, is that 2 and 6? 2 and 6. That'll tell you. Look, that's got a dust cover on as well. Then here we have. Oh yeah, I remember all these. Stone Age Man in Britain. Look at this. Wow. Absolutely fantastic. At least you haven't got the dinosaurs with them. Sometimes it's nice to have the dinosaurs because it's not historically accurate. They weren't there, but there's look at that, the mammoth. Look at that, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Stone Age Man. Now here we've got a series. I always love this series, Kings and Queens of England, Part 1. And you get basically an absolute wonderful page. Imagine, you just get one page describing that particular king and queen. It's just amazing. I can't say. Look at these these illustrations. Look at that. Brilliant. No, I love that. That's Henry V, of course, there on the front. Ah, man. And here we are, Kings and Queens Part 2. So this goes up to Queen Elizabeth II and starts with Henry VII at Bosworth getting crowned. Henry VII beating Richard III, the House of Tudor coming into being. And then we go, let's see, what else have we got here? Let's see, we get to my favourite. And we got Charles I. Yeah, Charles I there. The English Civil War period. Absolutely love the English Civil War. Always have done. But the great book. Absolutely fantastic. So that. Then we've got, this is another one I'm very lucky to have with a dust cover. This is a story of Nelson. Some great British heroes that some people perhaps are devaluing nowadays as much, but you know, these are really great books. Wonderful. Now Yorkshire Connection. There's always a Yorkshire Connection, and it's got a dust cover. Captain Cook. I was absolutely fascinated with Captain Cook, you know. Sailing from Whitby. Whitby, yes. Yeah, there we are, Whitby. Captain Cook. Oh, fantastic. I mean, what can you say? Look at that picture. Some great illustrators they were. Look at that. Imagine you're reading this as a child. Your imagination just gets fired by a photograph like that. You know, how they did the illustrations is just fantastic. Here, this isn't old, but it's not got the dust cover because I can tell by price, 2 and 6. This is William the Conqueror. Well, this is great, you know, from the Battle of Hastings and everything when he becomes king. Great stories. Then I've got here Charles II, the Merry Monarch. Yes, again, great stuff. The return of Charles II. And, this again, I've got a nice dust cover. Great. Charles II. Oh, I love this one. This is sort of Captain Scott, the great heroic failures, which is so British, but what a story Captain Scott is. And absolutely. I mean, I remember reading this and just thinking, wow. Look at that illustration that is of Captain Scott. And I think I've seen that in a photograph, very similar to that. Just, well, look at this. Absolutely. Wow. I'm just... Richard... I always love Richard the Lionheart. Oops. I have to be politically... Richard the Lionheart. Great. Absolutely fantastic. What a story, as we know, because that's where we get where the Robin Hood stuff comes from, and that sort of time period. And, well, yeah, it's all very interesting stuff, that. Legend. Oh, then Joan of Arc. Wow. Joan of Arc. Look at that. Wow. Cleopatra. Oh, yeah. Who could not love Cleopatra? Yeah. The stories in here are just absolutely fantastic. Look at these. Yeah. And then, of course, one of the people that I know quite a lot about is somebody I studied a lot, Oliver Cromwell. Look at that. What an illustration. I mean, what I loved about Cromwell, look at this. Cromwell and Charles I, when they were having... This is based on historical fact. They were trying to persuade him. They didn't want to execute him. But he was so stubborn in the end, playing off people, that in the end there seemed to be no choice, that they had to get rid of him. People often think Cromwell was a radical man. Really, he was quite a conservative man, even though he was there as reluctant to some extent. Man, anyway, I don't want to go on too long because once I get going, that's always a lovely picture, isn't it? Look at that. That's Cromwell showing him as a family man. There's something so special about these books. You just can't help but love them. And then to finish my historical things, we've got Sir Walter Raleigh, another great storyteller. You look at and think, wow, with his relationship and what he did with the Queen, and Elizabeth I, she's a character as well. I mean, just amazing stuff. Right, my next one, I'll get through these pretty quick. I'll try. Pond Life. These are all my nature section. Pond Life. Again, same kind of just wonderful. Garden Birds. Yep, Garden Birds. This is I don't know. This is a chicken licking, which has got in from other places. Yes, that's appeared. Anyhow, well, let's go there. We've got one on trees, so that's good because I'm not very good at identifying trees. So we can look at trees. Then there's something I really love here. This is a book on London, so you get a really good look at 1960s London, how they see it, and it's an amazing book. I just everything about it, fantastic. I mean, look, yeah, it's great, absolutely great. So that's that one. That just popped into nature pile by things. Right, we'll do these. Right. Did produce things. Don't forget, space race happening in 1960s. What was going to happen? What was it going to be like before we landed on the moon? Look at this. Exploring space. This is just amazing stuff. Absolutely. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, yeah. So that's exploring space. Story of football. How it developed. And you look at it and it's just pure nostalgia. Football. Then one thing I was interested in a lot when I was a child, and I've still got remnants of it still here. I've still got some of my stamp collections. Stamp collection. Great. Wonderful. Then we've got, I've just had to show you these storybooks here. Look at these. Robin Hood. There's the Silver Arrow story. I read this over and over again. I even virtually remember getting it in my Christmas stocking. Look at all these. Look, I mean, these, you just lose yourself in these stories. You just look at the amazing illustrations. There's that one, and then there's another one they did. They did two Robin Hoods, The Ambush. Yeah. I mean, look at these. Look at that. That's The Ambush, right? Now, in a more later period, they did things like this. Batman. Yep. The Fun House of Fear. Great. I mean, you just look inside. Look. You got fantastic Fun House of Fear. Then we've got a classic Frankenstein. Look at that. Frankenstein. Oh, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Frankenstein. Journey to the Centre of the Earth. Wow. Then we've got Piglet's Big Movie. A bit of Winnie the Pooh. Yep. We've got here Transformers. Look at that. Transformers. Oh, and then look at this. Superman, the story. Look, Superman. I mean, wow. Yeah, Superman. Great. So I think that's all. I'm just on these last bits. Oh, yeah, I've got here. You remember I talked about it recently? The Snowman. They did one of the TV series, the TV short Christmas film. The Snowman. Brilliant. Fantastic. Then, 2 special editions. One of Loughborough, where Ladybird Books, all history of Loughborough, fantastic. Look, Princess Diana visiting Lady Diana, Princess Diana. There she was visiting Loughborough, and of course she visited the factory down there. Yeah, and finally, I think it was really as a tribute to look at this, Diane, Princess of Wales. They produced this special edition after she died. I don't think she's ever forgotten the people's princess, as we call her, but, you know, she's just something that people will always remember. Yeah. So that's my look at my Ladybird book collection. Can't imagine if it was a massive collection, we'd be here till Christmas, next Christmas. Yeah, honestly, if you do get interested in, look, eBay, even Amazon, you can find Ladybird books. You can find all sorts of editions. They're great to look at. They're a great bit of history. If you want to start a collection, you could start a collection quite cheaply as well. They don't cost that much. There are obviously more expensive, rarer editions, but they cover such a wide range. They're absolutely fantastic. And, you know, it's just something different to collect if you like books as well. I love books. Not everybody loves books, but yeah, Ladybird Books, they're the name. They're always so, they just bring back all these memories, and I've got them here in front of me. All about nostalgia. So that's it. I better shut up now. I could go on and on talking about Ladybird Books and what they mean, but anyhow, this is it. So I'm going to say, as usual, subscribe if you want to do more of this, you know, just we'll let you know, and it's free if you give it a like as well. It costs note. And please leave your comments. Tell me about your sort of childhood memories about books and things. And if you remember Ladybird Books, you know, tell me about it. I'd love to talk about Ladybird Books. You know, they're great. And yeah, I just want to show you my passions as well. I'm not all this and that. I just want to, whatever I feel, I just want to express it. So that's it. And all I've got to say is, I'll see thee, and I'll see thee again.